my contribution to this company that I love is actually this here on the lighter side, a place where we can become a family again, and where we can keep their finger on product knowledge and what's going on all of the time, every single day. And so I think that is probably, there we go. We are on a live stream. So we're just gonna, it takes a minute to kick in, and we'll just be here in a sec and give people a couple of minutes to get here. I think we got some we got some people coming, and here we go. Welcome, Doug. I'm really nervous about this today, Rick. I don't know why. You guys always kind of intimidate me. I don't know why I shouldn't be intimidated, but I'm nervous about having you here. I'm excited about having you here, and I really want this to be awesome for the people that are joining us tonight. So. I'm just waiting for it to pop up. If somebody wants to make a comment there, I would love to see you. Just drop by, say who you are and where you're from. There we are, we're live. So, okay, we got 5 people there. Now I can see. So away we go. So I am, as I said, really excited about this, for you saying yes to me in such short notice. And I expect that we will have quite a few people joining us tonight, Rick, because people love to listen to the leaders and kind of rub shoulders with the people that we view as being successful, and maybe just learn a little bit about what you did to get here. And I know that I've listened to all your videos. I've shared your videos into On the Lighter Side, so people would have a sense and a feeling of who you are. We got a lot of new people in there. And what makes you special. And I love how those videos, included Lori, who I adore, your wife. She always winds up sitting really close to me at conferences, and we kind of chat back and forth. And she always sits there, and she's so proud to be your wife. So proud of her family and the children. So welcome to On the Lighter Side. Thank you for following us in here. And every now and then I see you making a comment. And so I'd like to open up tonight to talk about where you came from, how you got here to actually the Rexall side of the family. And you must have been in your mid to late mid 30s when you came.
Yep, mid 30s. Back in 1988, I had the rare pleasure to be asked to sit on the board of a network marketing company, which I did for about 3.5 years. And up to that point, I wasn't, a very big supporter of the industry. I thought it was something that people did when they couldn't figure out what else they could do. And I'd been approached a number of times and just didn't have a lot of interest. But after sitting on that board and seeing what the industry is all about, personal development, helping people to grow, the positive attitude and so forth, that when my insurance business began as a result of a recession that we had in the early 90s here in California, it prompted me to begin looking for, gosh, do I want to have all my eggs in one basket? I felt like I was on a treadmill, where the incline is increasing, the speed's increasing, yet because you're on a treadmill, you're staying in the exact same place. Okay. So I decided that the company that I was on the board with didn't have all the elements in place. They were trying to develop, but I didn't see in the near future it would have all the elements in place. And so I resigned from that board position, began looking, and I was the one making the outgoing phone calls. I wasn't the one receiving the phone calls. Encouraged me to look at what people were doing. I came across as you mentioned, the Rexall Drug Company. They procured a couple of patents on a product called, at the time, called BioSlife, which is now Balance. You know, it's the latest edition of BioSlife, which we call Balance. And for the first time, I saw all the elements in place. And so I didn't, you know, walk away from my insurance career, but I added something to my plate by working about an hour a day, very consistent. In fact, I was reading a book this afternoon, and it said this: small daily achievements, when done consistently over time, definitely do lead to stunning results. And it's not like I, you know, lit you know, the world on fire when I first joined Rexall, and now Unicity, but just doing those small little things every single day, and eventually, you know, as you mentioned, I was able to achieve the highest rank here in North America.
Mm-hmm. Can't argue with that. So, how much time did you give to this business each day, or how many hours a week?
So
On set.
yeah. So what I did was I mapped out every Sunday. I map out my week, what, you know, what my priorities are and things of that nature. And so I carved out 1 hour every week, every day, and then to make 2 phone calls or 2 connects, actually speak with somebody, invitations. And then once the ball started rolling, I would devote about 2 to 3 hours on a Saturday for training aspects and participation in that aspect. And what I did was, most of the people that I contacted were business people, you know, people that I had relationships in the business. So if I called them at night, it would be a weird phone call. They would say, "What are you calling me at 7 o'clock at night?" Plus, you know, I have a large family, as you know. I was active in Rotary and Boy Scouts of America, and serving on several boards and so forth. So the evenings I needed to spend with my family. And so I basically set aside 1 hour every day, and I did it between 9 and 10 every morning. I had my secretary hold my calls. I believe in the batch method. And what I mean by that is just set down, batch the things that are common in nature and do them all together, and then go on to the next task. And so that's what I did. And so from 9 to 10 in the morning, I would be making the phone calls, and until I got 2 people to say yes or no.
Okay, to say yes or no. All right.
As far as meeting with me, you know,
Yeah.
because I was just making the invitations. Now, you know, and let me just, this is kind of a funny story. So I remember it was, I had a very busy day, and I wasn't able to make those 2 phone calls in the mornings like I normally did. And so I was sitting there at night, reflecting upon the day, and I remembered I forgot to make those 2 phone calls. Now, what would most people do? They would sit there, "I'll make 4 tomorrow." But, you know, no, I own a couple of restaurants, and I know that if you don't eat at my restaurant today for lunch, if you come tomorrow, you're not going to eat 2 lunches. And so once the day is gone, it's gone. And I also know in my running training that, you know, when I'm getting ready to run in a marathon, that if you skip a day that was a 10-mile day, it's not like you can run 15 miles the next day. I mean, your body just won't allow you to do that. And so the consistency is critical. And so what I did was I got out of bed 10 o'clock at night, and I went down to my office. I looked at my list, and I made 2 phone calls, and both of them agreed to meet with me. So I didn't have to spend a lot of time, just 2 phone calls. They both agreed to meet with me. When I met with them, they said, "We were so surprised that you called us so late at night, saying that you had something you wanted to discuss with us, that I couldn't wait for this meeting." And so I met with them. Both of them joined us in the business. And so I thought to myself, well, maybe I need to make all my phone calls at 10 o'clock at night. But obviously I didn't, but that's what I do.
Okay, so how would you approach these are questions I know who's listening. So what kind of dialogue would you have on the phone? Like, I know that I work phone by a dialogue. I have set scripts for when I answer the phone for Max. I have a set script when I pick up the phone and it's a customer that's calling me from Unicity. They'll always hear the same message from me. And I'm very comfortable with it, and it's meant to set them at ease too. So I'm not struggling for words.
Sure.
So what kind of script would have you used? You're only looking for two people to say yes or no to you every day.
So basically it would be, it would all be depending upon if I was inviting for someone. As you know, Stuart was my sponsor, and so we worked very closely together. And he would fly down from Utah, and we would do some group meetings. And so if that's what I would be inviting for, the script would go something like this: "Hi, Darlene. This is Rick. What's your schedule look like?" First of all, I'd say, "Did I catch you at a good time?" Because if it's not a good time, it doesn't matter how good your approach is, it won't work. And so I always ask them, "Did I catch you at a good time?" And if they say, "Gosh, I'm right in the middle of things," then I try to make an appointment to call them back at a specific time. But if they say, "Yeah, it's free, you caught me at a good time," I say, "Well, a good friend of mine who's been, a successful broker on Wall Street stumbled on what he believes is the best business venture he's ever seen. We're going to get together over at my office to kick it around. Would you like to be included?" I mean, it was really that simple. And I would do that if I was going to meet with them. My script would be something like this: "Hi, Darlene. Did I catch you at a good time? What's your schedule look like over the next couple of weeks?" Well, you would normally say, "Well, what do you have in mind?" I say, "Well, I just recently gotten involved in a project," and I always use project. I got involved with a project with one of the top privately held companies here in the US, and they're expanding their market. And I thought, would you be open to take a look at what we're doing? And it's really kind of set them at ease, and just to see if they're open. Now if I'm asking them in regards to customers, if I'm trying to create a customer, I then ask them questions. How's your health? Are you reaching all your goals? For example, there was a guy that he's a newscaster, and he's a member of my club that I belong to up in Utah. And so he's pretty well known. And I just asked him, because I see him at the gym all the time, and yet he doesn't look like he goes to the gym all the time. And I'm sure you've seen people like that. And so I just happened to ask him, I said, "Dave, would you like to be in the best shape of your life? Have you ever struggled with just the motivation trying to get in the best shape of your life?" And he said, "Yeah." And I said, "Well, I don't know if you'd be open, but, I've got a project that might help you to get you into the best shape of your life. Would you be open to taking a look at some information?" I mean, it's really that simple. And he was.
Okay. And he was. And for all of the people that are listening, say, "Oh my God, he went too fast. I didn't get that all down." This stays at the top of the page for an entire week on the lighter side, and they can stop, start, stop, start the video and take it down word by word about Rick. That was awesome. Thank you. So, Rick, you mentioned you read a book, you were reading a book today. I'm a huge reader, and anybody that has ever followed anything with me on Facebook or so, it always looks like I'm reading a new book, and it's always the best book. The point is, I buy lots of books, and lots of books go out because they weren't anywhere near the best book. What would you say is the book that you read that made the biggest impact on your life?
Are you talking about business career?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
I
because as you
business.
know, I'm a spiritual guy. I like to read the Bible and other things, and so
I knew that. I knew that.
that would probably be the number one. The Book of Mormon, the Bible, those are at my top list. But as far as business goes, there's a couple of them. I remember years ago I read a book called "The Greatest Salesman in the World" by Og Mandino,
Mhm.
and talking about the 10 scrolls. And I read that book, and the first time I read it was in 1979. and just when I started my insurance career, and I would read it periodically. And then I reread it just recently because I was on a podcast with the greatest salesman in the world, so it refreshed my memory. So that's one of the top ones, Think and Grow Rich, by Napoleon Hill. I read that. That's an annual read. That's what I call encore reading. There's a lot of books that I read just like you because I like to read. And there's some books that I call encore reading, which I'll read again on an annualized basis. One of those happens to be The Christmas Carol. I read that every December by Charles Dickens. Why? Because I want to be grounded. I want to be like Scrooge, the way Scrooge ended up. We often think of Scrooge by being, a tightwad. He wasn't very nice to people and so forth. But that's not how I look at Scrooge. I look at Scrooge as being someone who could celebrate Christmas better than anyone else in the old city because he changed. And frankly, this is a life of change. I mean, we were talking about it earlier.
Mm.
You're having to learn new things, how to manage Facebook groups, how to do Facebook Live, how to do Zooms and all this. And so, it gets us out of our comfort zone in order to improve like that. Well, guess what? Scrooge got out of his comfort zone, didn't he? When he realized with those three ghosts what they meant to Jacob Marley, for one thing, and he was given a second chance.
Mm.
And frankly, I think this life is a life of second chances. And, I just love that. So I like The Christmas Carol, getting back to that.
Okay, like the Think and Grow Rich is something that Max and I study at least once a year, and I don't read the book. We will do one little chapter a day and discuss it and what it means to us now. Like Doug Collins would say to me, "What takes this woman so long to go through a book?" Like, I mean, heck. But the other book that I pulled out that's really making a difference for me right now is a book that was actually written published in 1962, and it was Joseph Murphy that wrote it, and it was The Power of the Subconscious Mind. And the reason why it's he's written it in a little more up-to-date language than Think and Grow Rich is, but it's really understanding the power within our subconscious minds and what makes us icky on the inside of our brain and really makes the roadblocks there. And he's a minister. He's a he's a theologian and a PhD in divinity, this man, and so you're getting lots of spiritual in there too. And same as Think and Grow Rich was lots of spiritual in there too, keep you grounded in being part of something greater than ourselves. But I find that after everything that everybody has went through in the last year, and is that we are seeing more and more people reaching for hope. And so even the people that have hung around here, I can tell you a story. I got a call on Monday from an old customer that had a good enough business here, a couple thousand a month, who hadn't ordered in 15 years and placed an order on Monday. Like, you could have knocked me off my chair, because people are reaching out for that place of hope. And I think that we bring hope in so many ways to people. And so I think that this could have the potential for all of the people that are going to watch it, and there will be hundreds that watch this video of ours this week. If you were going to give them the piece of hope that they could, the second chance, just like you said, listen, if you haven't achieved what you wanted to achieve in this company, it's not because you can't. It's because you stepped somewhere and you get a second chance. Batch your hours like you do. Call 2 people, call 3 people a day. What would you offer them as the hope You know it doesn't come free. You know that this business did not come free.
Well, the very first thing that I feel that someone needs to do is become a believer of the product. You know, it's often said become a product of the product. That's the single most. I mean, I look back and I had an amazing product story where my cholesterol dropped dramatically. I was concerned about it because of my family history, genetics, and so and that was balance. And so I have always used balance as the point of the spear. So use the products, develop your story in regards to the product. For example, there's that new Feel Great pack, which I'm really excited about. And, I was climbing the highest mountain in the Western Hemisphere a couple of years ago with my son, Tommy. It's Aconcagua down in Argentina. It's about real close to 7,000 meters, 6,000 meters right in there, right below 23,000 feet.
Mhm.
So on summit day, you have anxieties because you're doing something you've never done before. And, it's a lot like building this business to some degree because most people have not ever done this before. And I know I hadn't. And so I had these anxieties. My stomach was in turmoil. I was trying to get all my stuff ready so I'd be ready, get up to go. And I have my Unicity, with me to go up because I've noticed that has a calming effect. But because I was running a little bit behind, I didn't have any when we took off. So it wasn't until our first break, and by this time my stomach is just in turmoil, which affected my mind because we have basically four. We have the mindset, which you have to have clear, but you have a soul set, you have a health set, you have a spiritual set. So all of those have to be in alignment for you to be able to go Mach 2 with your hair on fire, if you will. And so I was just out of alignment, if you will, in all aspects. Well, I got to that first rest stop, and I was able to drink my Unicity, and literally within 5 minutes, my stomach, became more relaxed. My mindset became focused, and here I was one of the older ones to attempt the summit, and I was one of the first ones on the summit. I mean, I just powered up, had a great day. I can remember a number of years ago, before I had Unicity and struggling and doing something much smaller. And so I certainly believe in the Unicity and the Feel Great pack. And so when you have that product story, even when people say, gosh, I'm not interested, you still rely, it worked for me. And I know it can work for others. Just give me a chance. Just give it a chance. And so number one, having a product story. And that gives you hope. And then the other thing is, you want to assemble a dream team. I can remember in the Olympics, there was a basketball team and it had Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan, Patrick Ewing, it was the dream team of NBA All-Stars, if you recall that. And, now were they all good at everything? No, they weren't. You needed a Patrick Ewing to be your center. You needed a Magic Johnson to be a playmaker. You needed a Michael Jordan to make that clutch shot when you really needed it. And so assemble a team. When you join us, you've already got an immediate team. For those of us that are here, your partners that want to have you succeed. And so rely upon them. I used Stuart a whole lot. We developed a great friendship as a result of the close working relationship, and that happens. And so just remember, you're not in business by yourself. Yeah, for yourself to help it grow and progress and reach your goals, dreams, and aspirations, but you're not in business by yourself. And so use others, and you'll hear stories, and stories give hope. Because we all have a unique story. And that's one of the things that we learn about in The Greatest Salesman in the World. One of the scrolls is talking about nature. You are unique. There's only one of you on this planet. I don't know how many people there are, 7 billion, 8 billion, 6 billion, whatever it is, but there's only one Darlene Long. She has that special quality that makes you unique. And a result of your uniqueness makes you special. Don't forget that. And if anybody will ever tell you you're not special, don't believe them, but call somebody who does think you're special. And you have the same spirit about that I do. So give us a call. We're happy to inspire and to give hope to
Yes.
those who need it.
So you touched on something here that I believe is really important, and some call it the dream team, other people call it circle of influence. Um, if you were, some people call it a mastermind. As part of a mastermind or a dream team, when you and Stuart would interact, Stuart would have high expectations of you. Am I correct? Did you report back and forth to him what you did?
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
how many people would be on your dream team?
Tell me what type of people would be on my dream team?
How many? How many?
How many? A half a dozen. A half a dozen. You don't need to make it so large that it becomes cumbersome, but you want to have it broad enough so that you can get a wealth of experience.
Okay. And everybody brings a special talent to something different to the team also. That's awesome. And I would recommend that people, inside of their organizations, find those people that feel like family, that they can trust. And that was the whole point of On the Lighter Side, to bring people together, to find the people that they really, can sense and develop a sense of trust with and feeling, learn about the products. Now we're adding these broadcasts, and they're exciting. And the stories, like last week I had Sandy August on, and she had people, although her story could have been tragic, it was really triumphant, but she just has them rolling, laughing the way she tells her story. That's our Sandy, right? So a couple of people gave me some questions to ask you. And they wanted to know, do you meditate? Do you have a process of how you start your day and prepare yourself for the day? Like we have what we call our holy hour in this house, and don't anybody call me during holy hour, where it is prayer, it is meditation, and it's reading and discussion. And it's supposed to be an hour, but sometimes it's an hour and a half, depending on how we get into it. And that's how I prepare every day, 7 days a week, which I think has got me into a good space to push forward this year and do better with Unicity than perhaps I've done since 1978-9, when I was one of you.
Yeah, so I do have a day. I start my day in prayer. I pray to a Heavenly Father or God. I meditate. I kind of look at what, I plan my day, as I mentioned earlier. And each night I look at the day ahead. But then I also want to be submissive to His will. And so I'll say, I plan on doing these things. I meditate on it. But what would you have me do? A number of years ago, I was teaching in a Sunday school class, and I was teaching in Acts. And when Christ appeared to Paul, what did Paul ask him? What would you have me do? What do you want me to do? And so I asked them that question. And some days I don't really feel anything. Other days it directs me to be doing other things. So I do that. I have a meditation, I have a prayer, I look at that. I also begin my day with a spirit of gratitude. I'm just grateful. I have been so blessed. You talked about my wife, Lori. My number one blessing that I've received is having a wonderful companion. Now that most of our children are gone, we have a large family, 8 kids and a number of grandkids. But, we spend so much time together, and I just love it. I mean, it's just joyful. And so having a great companion, I really am just a spirit of gratitude. I feel so blessed in regards to the business that it's provided, and so many people are struggling this past year with health, with finances, and so forth. I just feel so blessed because my Unicity business has maintained and grown a little bit. I feel that the Unicity products has certainly allowed me, even though I know I've been exposed to COVID-19 because my son had it and his family had it, and they were with us until they got their test and they tested positive, which they moved on, but we never got it. And so I look at the benefits that Unicity has done, and just so grateful for that. And so I do that, and then I exercise. It's an interesting thing. Cortisol. Are you familiar with the hormone cortisol?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's the fear hormone. That's what causes feelings of fear. Well, one of the things they've learned, the scientists have learned, is that if you exercise first thing in the morning, that your cortisol levels drop. And so your fear of the day will decrease and your mindset will expand. And so, as you know, I'm an avid runner. I like to run, and you only have to do it for like 20 minutes. The problem that I have is I have ADD. I'm a very addictive and compulsive behavior type of thing. So, I wake up in the morning and 20 minutes, like today, I ran 8 miles. On Friday, I'll run 10 miles. And so I run, yesterday I ran 4 miles. So I vary it every day, but I spend time. But I don't just run. I actually have earphones, and I listen to audiobooks. I listen to podcasts of good things. And for example, I might listen to a book, but listening and reading I comprehend things differently. And so if I'm really intrigued by the book that I heard, I'll go out and buy it. And I'll get it on my laptop, and then I'll read it. If I really like it, I'll buy it.
And you want to hold it in your hand.
Hold it. Exactly. I want to put it in my library so I don't forget.
Okay. So another question I had was, you had your insurance business, you had a big family, and trust me, I know time that family takes. You had Unicity. How did you maintain your focus? And is it because of your personality style, how you worked, that you just didn't get distracted?
Well, distractions, they come about. I mean, there's lots of distractions. In fact, I look at the biggest challenge I see in today in our society is distraction. The cell phone. What do most people do? They get their alarm goes off, it's their cell phone, and then they immediately look at it and they start, it can be a huge distraction. And so I try to be really disciplined and be in the present with whatever I'm doing. If I'm at home, I'm home. If I'm doing insurance, I'm doing insurance. If I'm doing Unicity, and let me give you an example. If I got a phone call, let's say because my Unicity hour was 9 to 10. If I got a phone call at 2 in the afternoon, I would pick up the phone and I'd say, hey, Darlene, I'm right in the middle of something. Do you mind if I call you back at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning? And the great thing about
Bingo.
There's no urgencies. I mean, there are no urgencies. And if there was an urgency, I would have them talk to Stuart. But I was really disciplined in not disturbing my insurance time or my home time, because this business can be a 24/7 if you let it. And so be in the present, and I heard this, Lori and I were group leaders of an addiction recovery program for alcoholics and drug addicts. And one of the things they said is that, the past is the past, the future, who knows? Today is the present, the greatest present God can give you.
Yes, today's the gift.
Today is the gift. Be in the present. Don't think ahead. Don't think behind. Be present.
Good. One last question. And I'm going to tell you, take a breath. Be in the present. These people, the people that are listening here, and I choose to believe that, this group has grown in the last 2 weeks by 97 people. There's people that are somehow or another grabbing hold of an interest here. And even though they maybe have never really started yet with this business, what do you think they should do in the next 30 to 90 days to make the difference for them so they feel like they're successful and that
Well,
they have a chance?
yeah. Well, number one, as I mentioned, become a product of the product. Absolutely believe the product. The second thing is you need to get connected with your partners and you need to get connected in the system. I've read your materials and great materials. And so that's the system. Next thing is put together the list of people. That's your really inventory, if you will.
Mhm.
That's the asset. And then just talk to people, present, invite. And, don't make the mistake of doing this by yourself. I mean, you've got a great team. Just part of you, I mean, who you have on your team and the team below you is you've got me, you've got Aaron Weber, you've got others that, and Sandy August's team. They've got Sandy, you, me, Max and Aaron and so forth. So, Doug Collins has a great team and you can assemble these people to help you in growing your business. So there's also, I put together a YouTube video several years ago talking about the 90-day sprint. And so all you have to do is go to YouTube, type in Rick Jordan 90-day sprint. It'll pop up. It should be the first one that pops up. And it's about an 8 to 9 minute video. And I would certainly encourage you to listen to that, watch it, take notes. We can certainly do a follow up to that on this, if you choose to. If you'd like to do that, I can certainly talk about the 90-day sprint, but really being focused. You need to do this business with intention. And I learned this years ago. I love to play golf, but golf is a hobby for me. That means it costs me money. Okay. If you treat Unicity like a hobby, it will cost you money also. Treat it with an intentional business. Whether you're just creating customers, you want to become part of that Centurion Club with the Feel Great project, that's wonderful. But do it with intention, and really be specific and focused. If you do that, we're going to have a lot of fun. I mean, there's trips. I mean, that's the great thing about Unicity. It is a well-rounded experience.
Correct. So you said become a product of the product. And I'm going to say, I see something that's really simple. And I really believe, I was talking to a gal, her name is Judith, on Saturday. I spent some time with her. And she was talking about the Feel Great pack and how, like, why is that? And you and I talked, there's all kinds of great products here. Trust me. And we want everybody to get that whole well-rounded experience. But while you're building, I've always maintained, find 1 or 2 products, maybe 3 products that you fall in love with, that you use, that's your product story, and move forward. The thing I see about the Feel Great pack is if you're watching what I've been writing about the cardiovascular system this past 2 weeks, actually, to cover this, 660,000 people died in the US in 2018 from cardiovascular disease. That's not even in Canada. And so balance is the foundation of everything. And so part of the Feel Great is balance. And you talked about Unicity. Listen, I've talked about Unicity and my head injuries and my memory came back. And I think it's a phenomenal product. Whether you use it as the fuel, whether you mix it in your matcha, or whether you're drinking the new stuff that tastes like heaven. Okay.
It's a wow.
It's a wow.
Wow.
The original I couldn't drink without matcha. That's the truth. But this one I can drink it hot, cold, however. And like I said to Judith was, listen, if all you do is go and get those customers, you know, buy that Feel Great pack. 100% of the people, if they take it every single day, they're going to feel that product. At the end of the month, have lost 2 or 3 or 4 pounds, maybe more. You know, we've seen, you know, just on that. And I said, what you need to do is get people an experience that they do not want to give up. And those 2 products would give them that. You know, you and I talked about this last week, you know, that the cleanse pack is a phenomenal pack. That was our enriched pack. Okay. And it was like your balance, what the Bio's life was to you. And so this here Feel Great pack, whether you want to become a centenary, you know, why not get 100 customers over the next, if it takes you 18 months, did you fail?
No, there's no time frame.
There's no time frame. So I'm going to have the 90-day sprint up there tomorrow for people. That'll be my midday. So I put you up. I'm very superstitious. You went up. Every video went up at exactly 11:11 a.m. So it brings us blessings. And so the 90-day sprint will be up there. And maybe, yes, come back. Let's talk about this 90-day sprint. I think that you gave us all kinds of information that people are going to have all kinds of questions. And above all, Rick, I want to thank you, because this conversation between you and I was easy and on target, and it was for me absolutely a pure pleasure. And I want to thank you for taking the time to do this.
Yeah, well, it was my pleasure, and I certainly appreciate all that you're doing. I love the lighter side. I love what you're doing, and certainly encourage you to continue that process. And it's been a great blessing for a lot of people, and it'll be even a greater blessing in the future for a lot more people.
Thank you. Thank you. So, ladies and gentlemen, this was our Rick Jordan. He was in La Jolla. You can see he's sitting there. He was fighting the sun, and I'm sitting here fighting the snow. And this is the beauty of Zoom calls. These are the meetings of, this year, 2021. This is how we're going to introduce and have meetings, and everybody can see people. So every week there's a meeting here, right here on the lighter side, and we're interviewing different people. And thank you for taking the time. And say hello to your wife, Lori.
I'll give her a kiss for you.
Okay, she sits there and tells me I was only 18 when he asked me out, and I've never been out with anybody else. So there you go. I love it. And just the way she said it, she could still feel that first date. So there you go, Rick. Have a great evening.
You too. Great to be with you, Darlene. See you soon.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.